review additional documentation, stuff like this. This is just to show you, when people tell you, well, I don't know what to do, that's because they haven't looked. They haven't understood what their control setting are, they haven't understood what the goal of their risk assessment are, they haven't looked at the questions they ask to find out where there are opportunities to do better. So there we go. Know your controls. Know what questions you're asking. Know what your goal was in the first place. Speak the same language. Don't go looking for web apps if you're doing a physical security risk assessment. You're wasting your time. It's out of focus. You're a 3-year-old and you're ignorant. Get out of my office. And last but not result, make sure we test results, verify your risks. We're trying to clarify, not confuse. But we are not trying to lie. Keep that in mind. This is as much about credibility of you and your method as it is the results you come up with. You're trying to go out, you're trying to find this stuff out, but you're not trying to invent problems. Examples. Vulnerability assessment. What was the vulnerability assessment do for you? Yeah. These are all controls that ISO says you should do. This is what just a generic vulnerability assessment can do for you. It's everything else. It's everything from, do you do proper due diligence on your third parties? Or you and your vendor management program which supports security of your environment. Up to, you have telnet running on the inside of your environment. Effectiveness of your security control. Hey, remember what I told you before? No, we do not ever expose unencrypted authorization traffic to the internet. Well, yes, you do. Hey, ISO says you change all default passwords before you put something in production. We do that. No, you don't. This is where you found this stuff. Another one's configuration reviews. Here. All this stuff ties directly back to ISO. What are you doing on this? I have a gold standard, or I went down to the Center for Internet Security and I downloaded their level 1 benchmark for there's configuration on a workstation. I went down and here we have it. This is nothing, this is not rocket science, but this is just to show you a simple little activity like in a config review against expected standards. This is all they configure you. So again, it's kind of hard to say, well, I don't know how to technically validate stuff. But you do. Yeah. Connectivity assessments, wireless scanning, same stuff. Now we're getting to the equally important stuff, but hard to break out in bits and pieces. Physical security, social engineering. If you've never done it with us, well, do it. Do a phishing exercise one time just to really depress yourself. I mean, it's I used to have hair before I started doing that one. It just ruins it for you. Logging and monitoring, huge. Guys, if you're doing risk, let me go ahead and speak to you about one thing. Is logging and monitoring important? Absolutely. It's more important for risk than it is for security. The reason being, it takes me a while to get my problems fixed. At least now I can see them happening. True story, ran into a data center downtown Dallas, 2:30 in the morning with a pair of wire cutters. I was cutting the wires over the backs of every server in that rack because there was an active exfiltration of data ongoing. I found out it because I was monitoring. Didn't have time to find out how to stop it. I knew how to stop it. I had this wire cutter. Problem stopped. Would not have known it had I not had monitoring turned on the week before. SPLC data discovery. Oh, data discovery is key, folks. You don't know where your assets are, you can't protect them. You have to treat everything like it's your worst case scenario, or you have to accept the fact that you are an ostrich. You are putting your head in the sand on purpose and you're acting that way. This is plausible in your hypothesis? No, this is negligence. If you don't know where your data is, it's your fault. Keep that in mind. It's nobody else's fault, it's your fault. You know that you have to know where your data is in order to be able to control this. I work with people on a regular basis where we're talking about data minimization. For those of you who've done PCI, we refer to this as scope reduction. It's the same thing. Know where your data is, make sure it's where you want it to be, and defend it appropriately. You let that stuff run wild, sorry, I'll probably read about you in one of our security magazine. Back to our big Lebowski. Questions? What have we got? Who's got any? Can't think of one. Any other topics around risk you want to talk about? I got a grant for about 7 minutes. I'll be glad to give you my opinion. Yes?
Could you just repeat the name of the website you mentioned about going to get the configuration?
There's a number of tools that are out there. One of the ones that I particularly like, although make sure that you read their website because you're supposed to pay them. It's called the Center for Internet Security. CIS has some incredible benchmarks. Looking in the eyes as I say the following statement. You stage level 1 benchmarks when you are starting. You go down level 2 because level 2 is better than level 1. You're going to get fired. if you're going to break production quick. Level 2 is governmental security. Level 1 is just good, basic concern. And all of them, as always, do not just go randomly apply them. Take your time, make sure they fit, make sure you map your services, and you don't break them. That's a good one, but I mean, all of your vendors have security configuration hardened, guys. I'm just telling you as an auditor, if you tell me my stuff is based off of CIS, okay, congratulations, you just earned credibility in my book. Now we're going to see if it's actually based on CIS or you read about CIS and that's what you're telling me. It's pretty easy to tell pretty quick, but it is a good set of standards all the way across. Ma'am.
So from a business perspective, what are your opinions about looking at from a risk modeling versus threat modeling?
Do the same thing. When I first started in risk assessment work, I'll tell you my risk assessment. She's asking what's the difference from a business perspective between risk modeling versus threat modeling. When I first started doing this stuff, my first risk assessment that I was exposed to was where a bunch of business people had sat down and written down a bunch of risks. Whether they were applicable to us or not. This is for Sarbanes Oxley, and it passed, by the way. At the end of the day, it's, we go back to that risk trend. Asset, threat, controls. Threat-based modeling simply says, these are the threats they're trying to get through to get to where they're at. Risk-based modeling can still be that. Or we can flip on the other side and say, these are my assets, these are my controls, do I have an exposure? The real answer is yes. You got to go at both ways. Here are my assets, here are my controls, here's where I'm going to have to ask, is there a threat which is actively seeking to exploit that or not? One of the points that I derive the impact of likelihood when I do risk assessments, because again, I hate voodoo. I want to have a process. One of the components that I use to derive is your organization in one form or another more or less disposed to either being exposed to a risk or being able to defend itself from a risk scenario. If you are PETA, congratulations, you are more likely to attack a certain kind of hacker. If you are the government, congratulations, the nation state is coming to play with you. If you're a mom and pop grocery store, blind herders are not your friends. These are the kind of things you need to take into account. If anyone in here has ever looked at the FAIR risk methodology, they have an entire piece in there where you slide the scale and determine is this a 10% hacker, is this an 80% hacker, and who can exploit it. So, both. And if you're doing this right, you got to understand who you are, where your goal is, how you're protecting your goal. You can take a step back and go, okay, so my web servers are bad. But they're not attached to anything. They're a level 1 asset. I can lose it all day, and I really don't care if someone hacks it. I'm down for 15 minutes until I restore it. So am I really worried about that as a threat? No. Am I worried about an internal employee who might be a fudge student in my database or all my customer data is? I don't think you do this. So that's a different model. However, on Amazon, my web servers matter a whole lot. That's where you start doing that sliding threat based improvement. Touched on something that I'll bring up and support all of you guys. However you determine your likelihood and your impact, however you do it, reduce your voodoo. Get this thing down to where it's repeatable, you can explain it, and it makes sense. Because when it comes down today, and you have a critical risk, why is it a critical risk? Because I say so. Okay. You're a 3-year-old, you're ignorant, get out of my office. Especially if you're going to the CFO or somebody who's been speaking financial risk for years, they want you to be approved when you're in it. So try and find a way to arrive at these things. Try and find a way to definitively arrive at these. Don't just say, I think. And there's a large number of people who are more than willing to help you with this on the internet. Just go run and do research. There's so many experts. And yes, I'm dripping sarcasm as we speak. So take that on. Anyway. Thank you.
So we are good for 15 minutes, and
I have.
that's right.
I don't have any more presentations.